On January 31, 1943, Adolf Hitler promoted Friedrich Paulus to field marshal. It was a death sentence disguised as an honor. No German field marshal had ever been captured alive. Hitler expected Paulus to understand what was being asked of him. We've seen the trap close around 300,000 German soldiers. We've seen Hitler refuse to let them leave. Now the question is simpler. How long can men survive when everything runs out? By late November 1942, the Sixth Army was completely encircled. Hitler promised relief. He promised supply drops. He promised a corridor would be cut through Soviet lines. None of it came. The relief force stopped 35 miles short and turned back. The supply drops delivered a fraction of what was needed. And the corridor was never opened. Inside the pocket, winter arrived with full force. Temperatures dropped to -40 degrees. Men who fell asleep in the open didn't wake up. Rations fell to 200 grams of bread a day. Then 100. Then 50. Then the bread ran out entirely, and soldiers ate the horses. When the horses were gone, they ate the leather from their own boots. Frostbite took fingers. Dysentery spread through the frozen trenches. There were no medical supplies left to treat either. An army of 300,000 men, the pride of the Wehrmacht, was dissolving. Not from Soviet bullets, from cold, from hunger, and from waiting for a rescue that was never coming. On January 30th, Hitler gave a radio address celebrating 10 years in power. The Sixth Army listened from their frozen foxholes. The next day, Paulus received his field marshal's baton, delivered by radio signal, not in person. Hitler couldn't reach him anymore. There was a pistol in Paulus's command post. He looked at it. Then he put on his coat and walked out to surrender. February 2nd, 1943. The last German units in Stalingrad surrendered. 91,000 prisoners were marched east into Soviet captivity. Of those, fewer than 5,000 would ever return to Germany. Most died in the camps within 2 years, not from execution, but from the same things that had been killing them since November. Cold, hunger, waiting. Hitler did not speak publicly for 3 days. Paulus lived until 1957. He was the only senior German commander to publicly denounce Hitler after the war. The man Hitler, expected to die for the Reich, chose instead to outlive it and spend the rest of his life saying what he should have said sooner. Some defeats take longer than others to understand. That's the Battle of Stalingrad, all 3 parts. If you've made it this far, subscribe. There are battles just as extraordinary that most people have never heard of. Next week, the only army that ever stopped the Mongols. They were supposed to lose. Yesterday's Odyssey, every week.